An interview with Hannah DeLong, Maine resident and artist. Miss Long, how would you define your artistic style?
My artistic style is very natural. It is mostly handmade and has a great deal to do with our Maine roots.
Hannah, how do you incorporate space within your works?
Space is the basis of what I work from, and to create a space is what I try to achieve. And in this case, I wanted to achieve a root cellar, even though it was above ground. And with that, using a ladder that extends to the ceiling, and also the earth beneath your feet to give you that really depth into the ground.
What would you say are your main objectives when creating a work of art?
When creating a work of art, my first objective is to relay my message to the viewer, and my message objective is to create a feeling and have the viewer experience a feeling through a space I've created.
In your art, you tend to make most of the elements within your work, such as paper, rope, wood stains. Can you explain your philosophy as a maker and why these elements are important to you?
I choose to start making my sculptures from the beginning. For instance, making my own rope, because I feel that during that making process you can sort of have a closer relationship with what you're making and understand it a little more, and it also gives you time to create as well as to reflect on what you're doing. And just having your hands busy is a really important part of making, and I feel that when I do achieve what I wanted through my piece to the viewer, then that has come straight from my hands, and that being all of what I make.
After viewing your work, would you like people to walk away with a solid narrative or be lost in the void of mystery?
If I have accomplished what I've wanted in the piece for the viewers, then they will walk away with a narrative.
What kind of experience would you like people to walk away with after viewing your work?
After viewing my work, I want people to walk away with a real sense of being grounded and a real sense of having a comfort in a space that just exemplifies human nature and what we all have that's very grounded in our past and very grounded in just comfort and being safe. And a lot of that, I think, comes from my Maine roots and a lot of things that people in this community really cherish.
Within your work, you talk about being a resident from Maine and going back to your Maine roots. Can you please explain how this affects your aesthetics artistically?
I think that being from a very agriculture community, and that is very much associated with dirt and being from a farmland, potatoes mostly, I think that is visually pleasing to me and something I really enjoy looking at and have a connection with, that kind of earth palette, and that you can create beautiful things from the earth as well.
So Hannah, what the hell are these jars all about?
These jars I've used repeatedly in many of my works, and they are mostly childhood memories or smells and sights and experiences that I've had that I can put in a jar, and that is where they stay. And that gives me an opportunity to reflect upon what it is I've grown up like and the sights and the smells that remind me of that.
In this particular project, does it feel empty or full to you?
This project spatially feels empty. It gives off a sense of loneliness and isolation in a way, isolation of the two parts. But in a way, it is full. It is a combined of the two. They are connected by the earth. And in a sense, it is full of human contact and fills the space.
Hannah, how do you feel about the constant change within your piece, such as the dirt being kicked around, stomped on, the ladders moving? There seems to be constant change within this jar project.
I agree that there is a lot of change, and I do enjoy it. A lot of the change has been brought by my own doing, removing the ladders, putting them in, trying to get a feel of exactly what's right, design-wise, as well as, how is this feeling? How's it looking? And one thing I do very much enjoy that it has changed is that people aren't afraid to walk on it. It's getting beaten down. It's getting used, essentially what it is made for. And the dirt being pushed around gives it another sense of, an ever-changing, society, ever-changing world, human. And I lost what I was going to say.
In this piece, you're working with many elements, the jars, the ladders, the cellar door. Do you see these as one cohesive piece, or rather different passages down the same hallway?
I see these three elements as being distinct in their own. The jars and the shelves, as well as the earth underneath it, is one, which I feel is really completed and has reached exactly where I wanted it to go. And the ladders I experimented with to give you a sense of being below, as well as the purpose of the cellar door being above the ladders at the top. And I would like to see these three pieces separated, but still in the vicinity of one another.
Either for this piece or your work in general, are there certain artists, movies, musical genres that you find you can pull from creatively to help you with your works?
The artist that I have a very deep connection with, as well as am very inspired by, is Magdalena Abakanowicz. Her embryology that was in the Venice Biennial is one of the pieces that really inspires me to make what I know, as well as making what's inside of me. And it doesn't have to be beautiful, but in a way it is going to, based on the way you presented it to the world. And I just received her book Fate and Art, a monologue, and I've really enjoyed looking at her abacans, as well as her bronze human castings that she's done.
Do you find your work part of the private or public sphere?
I find my work to be part of the private sphere, as in having an intimate moment with the piece, or the nature in which it's very subtle and it's very soft.
How's it going?
So Hannah, do you have any ideas for future works in the making?
For future works, I hope to incorporate art for people with Alzheimer's or people affected by Alzheimer's. I'm very interested in the human mind and how it works in those cases, and how we can create a space and create sculpture that can be very comforting to someone with Alzheimer's, as well as could be potentially traumatizing, in which you obviously wouldn't want to do. And I am also interested in working with personal experiences and perhaps cultures outside of the United States.
Do you feel that Alzheimer's connects to you in a personal way?
Yes. I currently work in an Alzheimer's facility, and being with them and experiencing what they experience in a visual way has become very exciting that I could provide them with a space and a context that they would truly understand.
And with these future ideas, will you continue to use elements such as weaving, paper, rope making?
Yes, I intend to use a lot of paper. I'm very interested in making paper at this moment, and I also tend to incorporate my staining into everything as well, so I can continue to do that as well.
For our last question, here at USM, Hannah, do you have a favorite professor? And if so, why?
My favorite professor is Duncan Hewitt because he gives the greatest advice ever.
Such as?